some people to betray your friends or to throw your friend under the bus when the public comes and they say that you must say this. It doesn't come naturally to me. It doesn't come easy to me. And I didn't feel comfortable doing that. Rather than assessing me as a human being, they thought, oh, I'm just going to threaten you. You're seeing the same circumstances why I'm standing up against what's happening on college campuses. You know, children signing a letter that you disagree with is one thing. Showing up at their private property with a bus and their faces on the bus and calling them anti-Semites, that's going to have some long-lasting trauma.
Okay, first things first. I appreciate Candace's loyalty to Kanye or someone she does consider a friend. I do believe you always want to be loyal to those people that have been loyal to you. Some people might say that Kanye West is not loyal to anybody, but I've never seen him have actual problems with Candace Owens. Another thing, just because someone you know has bad ideas or has said things that you don't agree, even if she did agree with or didn't agree with, we're allowed to disagree with people.
Patriotism principles, in the same way that we raise patriotism principles to say that if Hitler were about to overrun Britain, people who are saying, well, you know what, it doesn't implicate the United States at all or patriotism at all to watch Hitler overrun Britain. And it seems like it kind of implicates patriotism to watch Hitler.
Alrighty, so first things first, I wonder what Ben would say if Israel would take a stance against the United States. I wonder if then he'd be America first. If Israel was no longer in alliance with America, would he still be so quick to, would he be quick to denounce Israel and what they were doing if they were no longer aligned? His stance is, well, they're aligned with our ideas, we're aligned with theirs, so if so facto, we should, you know, it is patriotic to defend Israel or have Israel as who we back as a country. But I think the American way is honest and open discussion. The debate on who we should be supporting should be hashed out, not, well, they are our allies, so we should back them. I want to start this video off by asking you a question. Do you believe that Candace Owens is anti-Semitic? Let me know yes or no in the comment section. If you agree with her recent departure of from the Daily Wire, do you believe that she was anti-Semitic from the beginning? And if so, why did Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire hire her as a commentator for their channel? Do you believe that Candace Owens always was intending to leave the Daily Wire and use this as a way to have the Daily Wire fire her and not have to leave the show prematurely by her own means? As Ben Shapiro did warn her, if you don't like it, you can always resign. If she would have resigned, she would have not received any compensation. But since she was let go by the Daily Wire, I believe she will receive compensation. Was this only a slingshot to propel her career further and higher? Do you believe she is bigger than the Daily Wire at this point? And has there been a concerted effort by Legacy and social media to label Candace Owens an anti-Semite? But with all that being said, please like, subscribe, comment down below, hit that notification bell so you never miss a clip, and let's break down everything that's happened so far since Candace Owens has been fired, and a couple of clips from the past where it seemed like she was already predicting that she would soon be let go from the Daily Wire. Let's get into it. Candace Owens explained how social media and legacy media will mobilize to destroy your credibility by calling you anti-Semitic by not pushing the pro-Israel agenda.
Every single political commentator in America, every single one of them knows this, that if you do not step out and say things that are radically pro-Israel, or if you are too quiet on certain narratives and they want you to be radically pro-Israel, you can lose everything. That's truth. That is a fact. I'm not feeling like I need to hide from that anymore or be afraid to say it, rather, is a better way to say it, because I've endured this for years. I'm just at the end of my rope. I have given so much rope here, and I am just done with it. Every person that you are a fan of, they know this. Every person that you line up to go here speak, they know this. Again, it's not even on the basis of what you say. It can sometimes be on the basis of what you don't say. That an entire mob will assemble. They'll write piece after piece after piece until you subjugate. If you don't subjugate, the bounty grows larger. So yes, there was a large bounty on my head for the crime of refusing to suddenly hate Muslims and to condone Muslims getting bombed following October 7th. Everybody can see that.
And I don't think Candace Owens is pro-Muslim or Israel, I think she's more posing questions as to why do we have to march in lockstep and defend Israel at all costs. Suggests that there is no other option besides Muslims are bad and Israel is the side of good. I'm not suggesting one way or the other, but the fact that you can't even question or voice an opinion in the larger political commentary spaces is a problem. It suggests they say that it's not true, that it's not happening, but she literally lost her job because she just dared to question why these things were happening. Why does social media only go towards one direction? Look at Elon Musk. He had to literally meet with rabbis and go to Israel for the things he posted on Twitter X. The president or prime minister of Argentina also made some comments and had to meet with rabbis to be told why his comments were incorrect or why he was anti-Semitic. It seems like anti-Semitic, if you're higher up in the political game, might be one of the worst labels they can slap on you. But let's check out some more clips.
I really do believe that leading up to this moment, way before October 7th, pro-Israel was already losing the crowd. And what I mean by that was there was a fatigue that has been setting in culturally in the West with claims of anti-Semitism. And that's why I wanted to talk to Ami Kozak about that. I actually pointed to him and I said, what about this statement is actually anti-Semitic? And he said, it's not. And yet people are facing smears and facing libels. People's jobs are being called if they simply ask a question. If they ask a question about Israel's response, if they say, you know what, how many Palestinians being killed in response is too many Palestinians? They say, how dare you ask that question? You're anti-Semitic for even asking. They say, well, what if this leads to World War III? It doesn't matter if it leads to World War III. What matters now is that even suggesting or thinking ahead is wrong and you're anti-Semitic. I felt this fatigue long before this. I have been covering it on the show. If you are an avid listener to the show, I have been saying that the pro-Israel lobby was hurting the pro-Israel cause. And I think that we virtually saw a collapse overnight because something horrific did happen. People acknowledged that it was horrific. And I think that a lot of Jewish people looked around and said, where are our allies? And a lot of your allies were falsely accused of being anti-Semitic. And they didn't like the way that felt. You can't punch someone in the face and then say, why won't you defend me? And I think, unfortunately, over the years, and I have detailed those instances on the show many times, there have been too many people that have been punched in the face by the pro-Israel lobby, being told that it's not what you said, it's what you didn't say that makes you an anti-Semite. Threats, real threats. I had a rabbi that threatened to buy out an entire page in a newspaper and call me an anti-Semite because I didn't condemn what Kanye West said, what someone else said, not what I said, but I wouldn't condemn it. And they knew, I had said on the show 1,000 times, Kanye is a friend of mine. I don't believe, it doesn't come easy to me. It might come easy to some people to betray your friends or to throw your friend under the bus when the public comes and they say that you must say this. It doesn't come naturally to me. It doesn't come easy to me. And I didn't feel comfortable doing that. Rather than assessing me as a human being, they thought, oh, I'm just going to threaten you. You're seeing the same circumstances why I'm standing up against what's happening on college campuses. You know, children signing a letter that you disagree with is one thing. Showing up at their private property with a bus and their faces on the bus and calling them anti-Semites, that's going to have some long-lasting trauma.
Okay, first things first. I appreciate Candace's loyalty to Kanye or someone she does consider a friend. I do believe you always want to be loyal to those people that have been loyal to you. Some people might say that Kanye West is not loyal to anybody, but I've never seen him have actual problems with Candace Owens. Another thing, just because someone you know has bad ideas or has said things that you don't agree, even if she did agree with or didn't agree with, we're allowed to disagree with people. You don't have to go out of your way to condemn someone else's opinions. I can have friends that we agree on 90% of the things that we agree with, but someone finds out that 10% of what they say is made public or had public statements. Now I have to denounce this person because the general public heard only 10% of all the ideas this person has, which is insane. To just say, hey, we need you to now speak against this person. And let's not forget, the general public will move on to hating another person within a couple of days to say, I will no longer, you know, hang out with this, associate with this person because the mob tells you. If you cower to the mob does not stop. Once they see that you will submit and you will bend to whatever request, they will continue to push as much as they want. And I commend Candace for standing up for what she believes in, her saying, hey, I might not agree with 100% of what this person says, but the majority I do agree with. And he might be labeled an anti-Semite, but I'm not that. I enjoy him and respect him for XYZ reasons. Also, I do have to push back. I don't care about the doxing that happened in Harvard, where a doxing truck happened to be posting the information of students. I don't think they should post addresses or anything like that, personal information, but saying, hey, these people signed a letter that wanted to back Hamas, a terrorist organization, is different from saying we want to back the Palestinian people. And of course, how many are they? Is Israel attempting to take over all of Palestine? Is Israel's mission is the Israeli government's mission to eradicate Palestine no longer exists? We just don't know. How far is too far? So these are questions that do need to be addressed. Here's an old clip of Ben Shapiro trashing the left and Democrats for their cancel culture tendencies that will eat at each other and will destroy each other, not knowing that he's doing the exact same thing. He did do the exact same thing when he decided to bash his employee in Candace Owens, or one of their a coworker at least, bash her, say her statements were disgraceful because she did not back Israel, and then after all that, have her fired. So the most cancelable of cancelable things.
And then you combine that with the cancel culture and you come up with something truly ugly. So as we'll see, again, I'm just foreshadowing because you need to know where I'm going here. Okay, the fact is that the cancel culture exists. It is extraordinarily ugly. It's particularly ugly for people on the left, actually, because if you're on the right, like I know conservatives are not interested in canceling other conservatives, and they're not going to go along with this. If you're on the left, you probably will be canceled because your own crowd is going to flee from you screaming and running for the hills with their hair on fire the minute that you are called out as anything approaching a racist. That's the way that this works. But the left is going to claim that because Trump mentioned cancel culture at Mount Rushmore, it doesn't exist. Again, figment of your imagination. Gaslighting. And then you combine that with the cancel culture and you come up with something.
Alrighty, so yeah, Democrats are canceling each other for calling racism, bigot, sexist, misogynist, homophobic, transphobic, all these reasons the left will cancel each other. And I'm not really conservative, but I'm not definitely that far left where I don't agree with all those, DEI, progressive, woke talking points. But it does seem that now conservatives have gotten into the same game of canceling each other for apparently the conservative version of racist, homophobic, transphobe, bigot is anti-Semitic. Now, if you are anti-Semitic, you are cancelable. Your ideas are no longer should be voiced. You will be removed from the network where you have done a great service to, and I'm sure gotten a lot of people to sign up to the Daily Wire because of a person like Candace. So it's because it wasn't just, 5 white men giving the same talking points in an echo chamber. It's like, a different kind of idea through the same guidelines, but we got to see a different, set of eyes, a different life experience. And then just like that, because she did not bow and bend the knee to the Israel, lobbyist, she loses her job and is fired. It makes me more wonder, I wonder if Ben Shapiro actually believes that Candace Owens is anti-Semitic, or because she made comments like Christ is king, they are now attempting to say that the phrase Christ is king is anti-Semitic. That is insane. All because some people have been commenting that on posts by Jewish people under their posts. They're just being trolled. before, when left wing people or liberals were complaining about the trolling, and getting people canceled over trolling, conservatives would say, hey, that's not right, you shouldn't ban people, remove them from the soapbox of the street corner of conversations like social media, Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, all these things. But now, because they don't walk directly behind the ideas that Israel should be protected and we should give them all our backing, now you are an anti-Semite that needs to be silenced. It is hypocrisy. It is showing that they will wield the same weapons once they have them. They will do the exact same things. They are no better. They are hypocrites. Another interesting clip that I saw online that brings validity to what Candace Owens is saying about them attempting to silence you is the literal silencing that happened to Matt Walsh when he had to sit down with Jeremy Boring and Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire, when he brought up the fact that he doesn't agree with Americans having to be patriotic to Israel, and they were quick to say, no, well, they should be. And let's check it out.
But at the same time, I think one thing, the people that you're talking about, one thing that annoys them is when they see, I don't remember who tweeted, someone tweeted something like, if you're an American patriot, it means you're pro-Israel, or something like that. Yeah. Right. This idea that, like, it is your patriotic duty to have this particular feeling about another country, no matter what the other country is, I don't care what country it is. So that goes too far on that side of it, and I think they're kind of reacting. It's kind of what you're saying. Yep. They're reacting to that.
I do think. I do think that there is something patriotic about supporting our allies, because we form alliances because it's in our national interest to form alliances, and having formed those alliances, and if we're all operating in a kind of good faith where those alliances are concerned, then there is a kind of patriotism.
Yeah, but you don't have a. You don't have a patriotic. You don't have a patriotic. You do not have a patriotic duty to support any country that is not your own.
Well, I will say that I think that what that statement is missing is the phrase at the end, right now. Okay, so I don't think that you have a patriotic duty to eternally support any other country, because circumstances change. The country, I mean, how many times have we seen alliances change and people end up on the other side of those alliances? But the idea that in a conflict between a democratic ally and an actual terror group, that it doesn't connect to any sort of, we're not talking about nationalism now, which is just attachment to country. We're talking about patriotism, which goes to underlying principle, that you have no duty at all to support a fellow democracy that is an ally in its own battle for survival. That seems to me to raise some patriotism principles, in the same way that raise patriotism principles to say that if Hitler were about to overrun Britain, people who are saying, well, you know what, it doesn't implicate the United States at all, or patriotism at all, to watch Hitler overrun Britain. And it seems like it kind of implicates patriotism to watch Hitler.
Alrighty, so first things first, I wonder what Ben would say if Israel would take a stance against the United States. I wonder if then he'd be America first. If Israel was no longer in alliance with America, would he still be so quick to, would he be quick to denounce Israel and what they were doing if they were no longer aligned? His stance is, well, they're aligned with our ideas, we're aligned with theirs, so if so facto, we should, it is patriotic to defend Israel, or have Israel as who we back as a country. But I think the American way is honest and open discussion. The debate on who we should be supporting should be hashed out, not, well, they are our allies, so we should back them. And just to wrap this whole thing up, Candace Owens was fired exactly 24 hours after the Anti-Defamation League posted this about her relationship with apparent white supremacist and Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes. Let's check it out. White supremacist and Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes is praising Candace Owens' vitriolic anti-Semitism, and it's hardly surprising, but it does set off alarm bells. When bigoted people come together to push an anti-Semitic agenda, it adds fuel to a fire of hate. Very strong comments. Only 24 hours after this was posted, Candace Owens was canceled essentially from the Daily Wire. And let's see exactly what Nick Fuentes said about Candace Owens, or what he was supporting.
Mr. Shmuel
Okay, go
is
ahead.
attacking you. If he is attacking you on any personal way, that doesn't mean it's okay for you to attack him. You know better than that.
Wow,
teach your children.
wow. They're so evil. She goes, yeah, he's been attacking me for 2 years. Yeah, but you can't attack him back. You know better than that. You know better than that, you dumb goy. You don't know anything about our religion. If he was attacking you, then...
Goy is a term for anyone that's not Jewish.
But you can't attack him back. They're so rotten.
Better than that.
No, I actually, like everything I'm saying about him, like if this is holy, like, you know, selling butt plugs with your daughter, I don't know.
Okay,
maybe
wait.
you're right. I think it's gross.
All right,
I think
so-
it's disgusting. And I do not, it's not the definition of holy in the Christian faith, is what I would say.
Let's go.
It's weird
Let's
to
go.
me.
Okay.
It's very, and this could be a difference in our religions, but by the way, your religion does not trump my religion. So I think that you should respect the
Let's
fact when I say something
go!
is unholy, I am referring to my religion. His relationship
Let's
between him and
go.
his daughter is very creepy to me. The sex podcast is very creepy to me. The idea of sitting down and talking to your father about, you know, topics of sex in any regard is creepy to me. Him promoting butt plugs that are sold by his daughter is creepy to me. I have a right to say that I find this to be utterly unholy and that any faith leader, at least in the Christian community, would agree that all of this is giving us very weird vibes between the father and daughter relationship.
You're weird.
I can say that all I want. And I do
Jew.
think that part of it,
You're
and this is
weird.
where we get to the topic of where people perceive this and they say, is this a form of Jew supremacy? To say, suspend your Christianity because my Judaism matters more, is the feeling that I get when you say, you don't get to say it's an unholy rabbi. Pornography,
you know what, Candace?
pornography is unholy in my view. You might disagree
Okay,
with that. It is
Candace?
unholy
Let's
to
go!
Christians. The topic of pornography, peddling pornography, selling butt plugs, you know, the commercialization of pornography is unholy. And I'm going to continue to call him unholy because that is what I deem him to be. And I say that as a Christian.
Okay, so nothing that Candace said to that rabbi, whoever that guy is. Let's note the ADL considers Christianity anti-Semitic. Okay, they smear those who reject Judaism supremacy as a anti-Semite. Candace Owens can reply to the rabbi. She cannot point out the differences in holiness and filth in Christianity and Judaism, but their religion doesn't trump ours. I'm not sure who wrote that. That is coming from Classic something. I'm not sure what it says. But it's very interesting. And Nick Fuentes, I mean, if he is anti-Semitic and some kind of Holocaust denier and white supremacist, in that clip, he just seems to agree with Candace Owens' point. If you're a content creator, you create content, I guess myself included, if someone that you disagree with watches your content and agrees with one of your points, I'm sure that there is many points that Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens definitely do not agree with too. So for the ADL to say, oh, because this person says these things and he watched your episode where you debated a rabbi, you now co-sign to anything he says. No, that's not how the world works. Anyone can watch your content if they feel emboldened by it, or if they feel some type of way about it, if they agree with your points, that doesn't refute the point just because they're like, oh, well, this known racist liked Candace Owens, so what does that say about Candace Owens? It's like, it doesn't say anything. It just shows she had a very interesting argument that, you know, agrees with several people in different genres. I agree. Everything she said, yeah, it is unholy for, you know, a rabbi, a man of God. If your pastor, your priest, your the leader of your congregation was going on podcasts with his daughter talking about sex, butt plugs, toys, and stuff like that, I would be very confused on what was going on. If that's the message he wants to convey, if there is children in your congregation, they could potentially hear this, you know, filth. You know, I'm not a religious person. I'm not deeply religious, but I can empathize. I can understand that I would not want my religious leaders to be carrying themselves in this way. Though I do not practice that, I do believe in God. I do believe in most of the tenets of Christianity, but I am not practicing. I do not attend church. I seldom don't. I do sometimes, but rarely. I'm trying to get better at that. But if I found out that the someone showed me, hey, here's a podcast of your preacher, your pastor promoting butt plugs that his family member sells, I would be very confused. I would go directly to my pastor, my preacher, my priest, whatever it might be, and be like, hey, is this the best look for our congregation? I do not agree with, oh, whatever, he can do anything as long as it's off the clock. No, you need to carry yourself in a certain way. I'm not sure what the title of rabbi exactly means. I thought rabbi was the leader of the congregation for the Jewish faith, but I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it's not that. I'll look into it. But if it is that, that is very odd that a rabbi would, be promoting this type of filth. And I haven't seen it. I don't know any of it personally. I'll look into it, but I'm sure Candace has done the research, and I'm assuming she is talking from a location from a person that's done the research. But once again, I'll look into it, and if it is, this guy is not making himself credible.